This is Living Power with Dan Hurst.
He says, "Judge me, O Lord, according to my righteousness, according to my integrity, O Most High." God, I want to be right. I want to have integrity. I want to be right for me. Psalm 25:21, "May integrity and uprightness protect me, because my hope is in you, God." Proverbs 13:6, "Righteousness guards the man of integrity, but wickedness overthrows the sinner." And Job said, I love what Job said. Job said it so perfectly in Job 27:5. He says, "Till I die, I will not deny my integrity." God has called us to be people of integrity, to stand firm on the word, true to the promises, openly transparent before God, recognizing that we are ambassadors who represent the King of Kings in this foreign land. And we are to protect the promises. We are to protect the promises that God has given us to live. In fact, that last passage that we read in our passage that we read to look at, where it talks about Abraham now was old and he decides to find a wife for his son. He deals very, very specifically about the promise. God had said, "I want you to go and live there. I want you to be a part of that." That is the promised land, in the land of Canaan. But in order to protect that, it was important for him to find a wife that was of the right lineage. So he's going to send his manservant basically back to find a wife. When we get into this study, which will be in April, it's a fascinating revelation of how God works. It's so amazing what God does, and you're going to love it. But I want you to understand that what Abraham was doing was he was protecting the promises. What God had told him to do, he was defending that. And so there are three ways that you protect the promises of God. Very quickly, and we'll close. Number one, seek to honor God. You seek to honor God in all over which you are responsible. Whatever you're responsible for, decide, I'm going to make sure that I honor God. That whatever I have responsibility for is honoring to God. I'm going to make sure that God is honored in my family. I'm going to make sure that He's honored in my work. I'm going to make sure that He's honored in my relationships with other people. I'm going to make sure that God is honored in everything over which I am responsible. And don't compromise. Don't compromise. Don't compromise. Because when you compromise the honor of God. Now, I'm not talking about negotiation. Sometimes we have to negotiate. I'm talking about the integrity and the word and the promise of God. Don't compromise on the promises of God. The second thing is that you need to determine that you will do things God's way. I am going to protect the promises by seeking to honor God in everything that I do. And secondly, I'm going to determine that I'm going to do things God's way. I'm going to do it God's way. And then thirdly, expect conflict. Expect conflict. It's going to happen. Abraham's story there says that he was seeking to honor God. He was determined that he was going to do it. He was going to do it God's way. But he knew that there might be conflict. And in fact, his manservant understood it also. Expect conflict. But understand that your God is bigger than the conflict. Let's pray.